Hey everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining, whether you're watching, listening here in the United States or abroad. Thank you so much. Check us out on social media. Give us the big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, repost. All those things are free to do, and we would greatly appreciate that. And last but not least, if you could reach out to 25 or 50 contacts in your phone and let them know about Voices for Voices and our Voices for Voices TV show and podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Uh, we are well on our way to reaching and helping 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And it's because of you. You're helping spread the good news, and we greatly appreciate that. Absolutely. So, with that being said, this episode is going to talk about me being a little bit backwards. Um, I guess is the that's the term I'm going to use. I don't know. I'm not I I'm not big on names or like groupings of people. It's all about, the human culture, and not the politics. Uh, But as someone who could be looked at as backwards with some of the things that I do and I've done uh, with mental health, mental illness, all of that, mental challenges, that I think there will probably be at least one person that will get what I'm laying down. So being backwards, what do I consider that? And again, I'm talking about me. I'm not talking about anybody else. Um, if you relate, great. If you don't, that's great too. Uh, but this is how I perceive myself. So during school, um, I can't remember which grade it was. If it was the first or the second or the third grade, I'm not quite sure. But I remember having like these math quizzes, and I think they were just called like timed quiz. I can't think of the name that our teacher called them, but they were timed quizzes where there were questions that we had to answer, and they were timed. Now, I look at that now. We'll talk about the flip side of where we're at now versus how I feel now about what was occurring. So we would have these time quizzes. Okay, so there'd be maybe five, 10 questions, and I believe they were math. I could be wrong. I think they were math questions. And they were timed quite literally, where all of the students, including myself, were passed out a quiz on a piece of paper face down so that we couldn't we couldn't get a head start. So it looked like, I mean, it was blank paper, right? On the front there was something printed, on the back there wasn't. And so we all, as in all of us students, were getting ready to take these time quizzes or a time quiz because we're just going to talk about like one, but because the rest of them were the exact same, not the exact same questions. Same process is what I was getting at. Hopefully that cleared that up. So once all of us students had our quiz lying face down, then our our teacher would have, again, it's been a ton of years. I believe she literally had, and I use literally way too much. I realize that. I am sorry for that. That's just me. She had a stopwatch because we didn't have droids or androids or iPhones or anything like that. So if you wanted the time, for example, in sports, the National Football League here in the United States has a combine where the athletes that want to play professional football, the real football is soccer. I get it. I know that. I'm just speaking in terms of the American terminology for right now. They all gather for, I think it's a weekend or maybe it's a week, and they go through all kinds of testing. How high you can jump, how much can how much weight can you lift, and how fast you can run. And the old-fashioned stopwatch is used. And so its duty is of being a stopwatch is that just that start button, stop button, and then start over, and there might be an on-off switch, obviously. But that's what it was. Same thing for American baseball. If a member of the team batting gets a hit, walk, gets to first base somehow, they can lead off the base, meaning they don't have to stand on first base while the pitcher pitches. Uh, they're able to get a lead off, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 feet. And the first base coach, because right, we're talking about first base, has a stopwatch because they're not, I don't believe they're allowed using, technology like we have. So they go back to the old fashioned and they have how fast it is for the pitcher to throw over the first base. So then the first base coach can relay that information to the person on their team that is on first base and on the offense team. So they're batting. The other team's in the field trying to get 3 outs. The team batting is trying to get as many runs, first, second, third, and touching home plate as possible. I know these are things a lot of you already know, but I'm just trying to share a couple different ways so where the stopwatch would be used still today. So it could be like a 40-yard dash in the football combine, and it could be how many seconds or milliseconds it takes for the pitcher to throw over the first base. So if it takes a long time, then the person on the team that is on offense, they might try to steal second base. Not literally steal the actual base, but run to second base before the pitcher and or the catcher would throw the ball to second base and one of their teammates would be there and they would try to catch the ball and tag the person from the other team that was running from first base to second base. So, rewind many years. These timed quizzes, I believe, were math, and I believe there were 10 questions, maybe five. I don't know. I don't remember. I really don't. Um, but I do remember feeling the pressure of that competitor spirit of, oh, I want to be the first one. I want to be the first student that's done. So, right. So all the quizzes are passed out. Teacher would basically say, ready, set, go. Start the stopwatch. Uh, and we flip over the quiz and we go through the questions. And then we got to walk it up, literally quite walk it up. Or if somebody's on wheels and in a wheelchair, they would wheel themselves up and we would turn in the quiz. And then the teacher would write how long it took us to take those quizzes. I think you can all see where I'm going with this. And so when we talk about stress, when we talk about anxiety, as a child, that's probably, and I just thought about this morning. I woke up and I was thinking, it's like I'm backwards. And so I'll get to how I think that I'm backwards and why I'm calling myself backwards. Not nobody else, myself. And I'm obviously okay with it because I'm talking about it. So, right, we get the quiz, answer the questions, take it up to the teacher. Teacher writes down how many seconds or minutes it takes. And these are meant to be rather, th- these weren't meant to take like an hour to take or a half hour or 20 minutes. That's not how they were designed. They were designed to take not a whole lot of time. So I remember and I don't know where it came from. I do not know. And I didn't ask other students how they felt about it. But quite literally, that the timed quizzes put added stress on students, myself included, because let's say we had 15 students in class. I don't know. I don't remember. So let's just say we had 10 students. Once these quizzes got introduced and we started taking them on like a regular basis, I think it might have been like every Friday or every Monday or something like that. And it would be a review of what we learned over the previous days. And I'm laughing at myself. I've gotten used to that and gotten to be much better about that, to be able to laugh at myself. But it wasn't really a laughing and a joking matter. It was quite literally, here's your quiz, ready, set, go, fill them out, answer the questions, turn them in. Teacher puts the time that it took, 49 seconds, a minute and 15 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever the time was that it took us each to fill out the quiz and then turn it in. And I don't know where it came from. As I mentioned, I'm sure other students felt the same way. But again, we were like super young, so we weren't in that like, how does that feel? Like we didn't those types of things weren't really addressed when I was growing up. So that when people say to me about, well, if you weren't diagnosed with autism when you were growing up, then you you couldn't be diagnosed when you're in your 30s exhibiting autistic properties or areas. So that's, as I think today, where some of my anxiety, stress, wanting to be the first in the class to turn my quiz in. And if I wasn't, I was, kind of upset at myself. And I guess I want to say too, oh, I get to that in a second. Uh, so how did I think I was backwards? By being competitive? No. Uh, in the world, most people are right-handed, even though it looks like it's left-handed the way that most people write with their right hand. They kick a kickball or a football with their right foot, usually one of the stronger of the 2 feet. Uh, anyway, so I'm left-handed. So that's this hand, even though it's mirrored the way it looks. So it looks like it's my right hand, but it's actually my left hand. So I'm left-handed. So right there, I asked my mom and dad how they knew I was left-handed, like at the very beginning, like growing up. And they said that, when we were eating, they put this utensils on the right side of the plate, the dish, the bowl, and I would move it to the left side, and then it just went from there. Now in baseball, I I can't remember if I started batting left-handed only or if I batted left and right. Because generally, again, and if we look at like a total population, most people would if they're playing American baseball, they would bat left-handed or right-handed, one or the other. Very few bat both ways, like right and left. And I kick myself because I am predominantly left-handed, that I probably should have stayed batting left-handed. Or at the very least, which, right or left, depending on like if the pitcher's pitching left-handed, I would bat right. And if the pitcher was pitching with their right hand, I would bet left. Uh, so I'm a little bit backwards. So I'm a little bit, and again, this is not. I'm not grouping anybody except myself right now. Nobody except myself. So during these time quizzes, that's what I would do. I mean, I was left-handed, so that's what I wrote with, and I write with still to this day, my left hand. And so that's how I would take the quizzes with my left hand. Other students, majority of the students with their right hand. But not only that, there are 10 questions, right? Most people start at one, and then two, and then three, and then four, and five. Somehow, some way, I got it in my head. And as the years went on, some of it played out like this. And so somewhere in my mind, I don't know why, I don't know how, I started at the bottom. I started at the last question. So there are 10 questions. I would start at the bottom and then like work my way up, or start at the bottom for a couple questions and then go to the top. And so I'm calling myself backwards. Nobody else. I'm calling myself because I was going backwards on these quizzes, which were timed. So there's a whole lot going on there, right? So it's not just did I answer the questions right? Did the other students answer the questions right? It was that, and then it was timed as well. And then it was announced, at the end of the quizzes who was first. So right there is competition. And so that's kind of how I'm backwards. And I still do things like that to this day. I remember high school, college, I'll look at the last question because a lot of times, not all the time, not every time, but sometimes one of the toughest questions will be at the end, right? So it would start with like maybe like an easier, like a multiple choice, like A, B, C, or D. And then it might go to true, false, the question type. And then it might go to an essay question. And the essay question may be the last question on said quiz or said test. And so for whatever reason, that's what I that's what I've done a lot over the course of my life. And so I look at myself as me being backwards, not in a bad way. It's just something that most people, I believe, start on question one and then question two. And then I remember at least a teacher or two throughout all my education would, would have, directions. Like if it was a long test, like if it was a test, long quiz, there'd be directions like, please answer the question fully. Make sure to show all your work. I'm sure we're, turning the clock back if you're around my age or so. Uh, and then there might be some additional sentence in there saying, write the number four at the top right of your quiz or your test. Because for people like me, I was going from the bottom to the top, and sometimes I wouldn't read the directions because I still had a little bit of that timed feeling in me. And then I felt like and feel like still to this day, if there are things like that, sometimes I do the same exact thing that I did 40 years ago. Oh my gosh, I'm so old. It's all good. So now let's look at kind of the current state of what I experienced and others, these timed tests, these timed quizzes, putting little hidden ways to get extra points into directions for those of us that don't always and haven't always read the directions. And I think that might be some of where my creative spirit comes from, where I do things outside the box a lot, I guess is the best way I can think of saying it. So, right, a majority of people are going to read the directions and start on question one and then two. Me, not so much. Do we get to the same ending where we have answered all the questions? Yeah, unless it's timed. But when I say timed for college, because I've taught over 10 years, undergrad, masters, in class, remote, created courses, I've done it all. And so sometimes there's a time limit of like 2 hours or something like that, or an hour and a half, and whatever that may be. But nothing to the extent that I experienced being a young boy with these time quizzes because it ended up bringing, again, this competitive spirit. And while that's all well and good, yeah, we like to do things fast. We got AI. We have all kind of tools that, power tools to help us do things faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. But when it comes to, these quizzes, where everybody better be done, or, the quiz is gonna close in 2 minutes. Well, some people might not be able to do that. And so that's when I talk about, being a human being and being on the side of humans and human culture, that sometimes for a lot of reasons we could uh, we could maybe just not finish that exam, that quiz in time. And so do we want to be teaching our children that even if the teacher didn't say, oh, person, the first student finished in whatever, so many seconds or minutes, whatever. Then everybody hears it and goes, "Oh, I didn't make it first. I didn't hear my name until almost the end." So it took me longer time. That must mean I'm not as smart. And that's not the message we should be sending anybody, especially children. It's one thing to be competitive as you get older in sports and in other ways. But we don't need to be, and I hope that there's not many, if any at all, that has their first graders competing against other first graders and then sharing that with the whole class. Like going up to we had blackboards or green boards and then chalk. And then a teacher would, put names. From what I remember, that's what occurred. Would put the names in order of who got finished first. I'd rather have a student take their time to finish whatever they're doing than for, right? Because I mean, if we're all about competitions, like, well, I need to be the first one done. I got to be I got to get the most points. I got to do this and that. It shouldn't be like it was for me. And as I look back, again, I can't help but think competition is good, but when we're talking about learning, we all learn at our own pace, just the way it is. Some things come easier, some things are harder. All things could be hard, or there could be a lot of easy parts. So that's how I'm backwards, how I feel. I'm left-handed, I'm not right-handed. I do questions from the bottom to the top. I worry too much about, back in, 40 years ago, worried too much about trying to be always the first one done. And there were times where I was. And yeah, it made me feel good, but it only, see, the times didn't get entered into the grade book. The grades got entered into the grade book. I mean, yeah, you could probably put you, you could utilize the time into the grade if you really wanted to, as an instructor, as a teacher, as a professor. You could. I don't recommend that because we need students, we need people, we need humans. That yeah, it would be great to have everything done so fast. But we're not, humans aren't machines. So they say, oh, well, a machine can do 10 times the work that one human can do. Well, it's because we're not machines. We're human beings. And so we're in first grade or whatever, and we're going on like we're celebrating who got done first. Doesn't mean that I got all the questions right. Doesn't mean that at all. It just means, oh, wow, I could have just randomly went through, put my name on it, and turned it in. Be like, Justin got his quiz in first, but he got 0 points. He got zero questions correct. See what I'm getting at? We all do things in our own time. And me, as a believer, I would do things in God's time, not my time, not your time, not it's, and you don't have to be a believer to watch or listen to our show at all. I'm just giving my side of the story and my experiences. And when we have guests on, they give theirs. Who knows? Maybe you'll be a guest. So thank you for joining us on this episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. If you could give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, repost, follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, or the key profiles or key platforms that you can find us on. And if you could, reach out to 25 or 50 contacts and share Voices for Voices with them. So until next time, I'm Justin Allen Hayes. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you and uh, see you very soon. Bye bye.